Hey guys, the Battle Warrior podcast is sponsored by Battle Warrior Brands. Go visit www.battle-warrior-brands.com to go visit all your brand new supplements from working out to t-shirt line. So once again, go visit www.battlewarriorbrands.com, guys. And thank you very much for this recent episode. And this episode starts now. Hey guys, welcome to Battle Warrior Podcast. We have a returning guest coming all the way from Las Vegas, guys. We have Jonathon Dugan back on the show. We were going to talk about one thing, and I kept rolling, and I'm just like, fuck it. Welcome to the show, man.
Dude, I am so happy to be back on it. I think we had such a great conversation last time, and it flows so naturally. So it's, of course, I'm happy to be back on, and I can't wait to have you on my podcast as well.
Oh man, like I said, I was rolling prior, and I'm like, shit, put the plug in, put the plug in. Guys, we do this on the fly, so we just start talking, and we talk about, obviously there's one topic we're going to talk about with the NFTs, but I was talking about how I'm designing everything together and kind of building it up and having issues and bringing it up as an author. So like you're established author, guys, and I know we talked about it on the first podcast, so. Just tell everyone exactly the book so we can go on Amazon and get my guys to purchase it from you first, and then we'll go in depth what I was talking about.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And, I think it's somewhat funny when you say established author, right? Because a year ago, this book wasn't in my vortex or in my experience or in my vision per se. I always said, one day I'll write a book. Right. And so it finally came to the point where that one day happened. And I decided to take action on this as someone that would have never said that he's an author. I just love to write. I write content. I create courses. I create, I'm able to explain concepts really well. And a lot of people are like, hey, you should write a book one day. And I'm like, yeah, one day I will. And so I just created discipline in my routine every day for a 100-day challenge. And I wrote a book, and it is a phenomenal book, trying not to be too biased and pat myself on the back, but it really is listening to the book. Someone else read it to me as well. So not only did I write it, not only did I get to read it myself, but I also got to listen to it. So you're bringing in all these different senses, and it just resonated so much. And obviously it's my story. So it's called Uncovering the Inner Hero. Wake up, own your life, and manifest your ultimate potential. And that's the journey that I actually take our readers down. It's all about the moments of aha that I went through in my life, or moments of awakening that helped me tap into my full potential and start actualizing on that potential. Because we all have limitless potential, but do we all actualize on it? Do we execute on it? For the most part, no. It's only it's just sitting there. It's dormant inside of us. So how do we tap into it, and how do we manifest the life that we want? And manifestation doesn't come overnight. Manifestation, there's a gestation period. You plant a seed, and you have to water those seeds. You have to feed those seeds, and you have to be diligent and consistent enough to let it unfold in the time frame that it's up to you at the end of the day to let it unfold in the time that it needs to be. But, at the end of the day, it was such a beautiful journey writing the book, and it's not out on Amazon yet. It's still in the pre-sale. So I will say, buy the book right now from my website, because it puts you in a raffle to win a YouTuber starter kit, which is a 4K Sony camera, a Rode shotgun mic, a ring light, and a tripod. So that's one of the prizes. And then you have 8 chances to win an NFT that I've put so much fucking work into, and it's beautiful. The artist that is working on this project is a professional artist from Vegas and just puts out the best quality. And then the last prize, 2 prizes, is actually 0.5% of the total earnings of the NFT drop. So 2 people will be winning that. So actual Ethereum will be dropped into your wallet if you're a winner on that. So right now you can buy it from my website. And then December 2nd is actually when the book launches. So get your copy, man. It's definitely life-changing.
And the thing that we were talking about prior to me plugging it, I'm sitting there going, because I'm in the behind the stages part, like pretty much where And to be honest, I don't know how your time frame was, but by the time mine's ready and releasing, with the co-authors, my stuff written, the publishing, the all that fun stuff, I'm gonna guess it's gonna be 11 to 12 months total of like gathering everything and then taking it to publishers and stuff. And like I was telling you, I'm like, I wake up with text messages from the guy who's a phenomenal guy, and the best part of my life is I have two great publishers. I have one that's, they're both very, very good at two things. One's very good at mental health. The other one's very good at business launching. So it's like I have two, just like many people, and even, I would even open up that option for you too. But it's like, I looked at this, I'm like, okay, I started putting all the information out. I'm like, okay, is this going to be a business book or is this going to be a mental health book? And then all of a sudden we started laying everything out. I'm like, okay, this, how it's unfolding, how people are writing all this stuff. I'm like, this is a freaking mental health book. So I actually pull the audible, and nothing against, the guy on the left here with business. He's a phenomenal man, and we will be doing business down the road. I'll be 100% on that. But I'm like, this guy here, and we're in audio, we're video and audio how I'm describing this guys, but this guy here that did all the mental health, I'm like, you're going to take it all just, just for, because he's a niche in that. So it's like he specializes in it. The other guy's the same thing. And what I'm noticing is, me trying to get to the point here, when you not say dump it, when you take all your information, you give it to the editors and the publishers and all that stuff, it's like a constant flow of like, hey, get deeper. We need more emotion. We need this, or this is cool. We need to add this. So I'm in that stage, and I'm guessing it'll probably be another month or so. I'm probably till January. I mean, to be 100% honest, I never really realized two things. And I know we're going to be talking about NFTs here soon, but two things: the power of the book, just in general, and the work it takes to make one. And like I said, I had friends that wrote one, and they're like, this is cool, but they're like, oh my God, you don't know what it's like. So were you in the same boat?
Yes, 100%. I have goosebumps all over my arms because I keep moving through this dialogue in my head, of my why. I wrote this book for me at the end of the day. I wrote this book to connect. It's called Uncovering the Inner Hero. It's literally what happened to me in my journey of uncovering my inner hero, following the passing of my best friend, right? 6 years ago. This isn't an overnight book. This has taken me 6 years to go on a journey to hit rock bottom, figure everything fucking out, everything clicks, and then hit rock bottom again. And there is no depth. There is no bottom, there is no bottom to the abyss, but there's also no ceiling to the heavens. And so we need to understand that, like, in this journey that you're going on, and anyone else that thinks that you have to be someone special to write a book, no, you have to just decide what you want to do. And it's not just with a book, it's what you do with your life. Do you have a why? Do you have a goal in mind that is full of purpose, that lights a fire inside your belly, that you can't sleep at night because you're so excited about what you're doing every single day? That is, I believe, how we should all be living life. There is an opportunity. There is no shoulds or have tos or anything like that. But if that was a possibility, wouldn't you want to take that step, take that path in life? And so in that, it is a lot of work to write a book. You have to be really honest and vulnerable with yourself. You're sometimes, in my experience at least, I had to unfold and relive different traumas in my life in extreme detail so that the reader could experience it the way that I experienced it. And I had to relive it. And with reliving it, I got to heal from it as well. It was really, really powerful. And not only that, I got to understand the construct, the concepts, the values that it took for me to become the hero of my own life. And so that's all in the book as well, which I talk about 18 superpowers, basically, that what they are 18 internal concepts or values that we're all born with. But the more you develop these, the more you align with that hero that you are always meant to be. And these superpowers are such love, owning your reality, taking accountability, right? Forgiveness, drive, opportunist, visionary. All of these are powers that we're all born with, but how are you developing those powers inside of yourself? And so like with what you're doing, man, I think that we're in 2021 going into 2022, you had this choice to do this mindset type of book and health book or business. But today you can actually combine those two for both, because in business today, everybody knows the CEO and the founder of the business. They look at their character and their integrity. Everything's out in the open nowadays. Vulnerability is a power that can really touch the human heart. And in that is the best business to build, is through authenticity and transparency in that. So I encourage you, in whatever way you're doing, man, combine those two somehow, because that's how we're able to speak to the audience and let them know who you are and why should they be buying anything from you. It's because of the person that you are. And that's where the power comes from, man. So that would be the one tidbit I would encourage you to do, because I'll tell you what, who I've become in the process to achieving my goal is more important than any results that I know that I'm going to receive. I'm a different human being today. And so I'm grateful for that.
Yeah. I'm just going to roll it. I'm like, man, this is like a 2-part episode right here. It's like episode 1, book, boom.
Yeah. There's no agenda for me at the end of the day. Again, my why is to help people become the hero of their own life. So talking about my NFTs, yes, you want one of my fucking NFTs. I'll tell you that. But what's more important, I hope that something I say today resonates with you and it makes you reflect on something that you're doing in your life or not doing and making a change. Because without change, without doing something different, how can your life be different? I know there's so many people out there that's living the same mundane life every day. That was me day after day. And I thought I was good. I'm content. Life is okay. I have the white picket fence family. I traveled to 19 different countries. I was married at a young age, bought my own house at a young age, made $100,000 a year in Las Vegas, Nevada, as a professional food server. And yet I was doing the same thing every day and I wasn't living of purpose. I went to work every day at not a 9-to-5 job, but 4 p.m. to midnight job. And I didn't even serve food. I'm a food server. I don't serve food. I talk about food. Someone brings the food to the table and people gave me money for it. And yeah, that's great. But is that what I came into this existence to do? I don't downplay. I'm so thankful for all the abundance that place has given me. But I think that I was made for something a little bit more special than that. I know the potential inside of myself. And I know that people that are listening have so much more potential inside of them. Sometimes we just need permission. And my permission came when my best friend died and he was no longer going to walk on this earth. So that means I have 2 people to walk with me now, myself, my purpose, and also my friend. Because if he can't live the fullness of his life in years, but he lived in depth, now it's time for me to live in depth and in years for both of us. And so I made a fucking difference in my life. And in that, I don't know what the ripple effect is going to have, but I know that his influence has rippled across time and space that I will never comprehend until after I'm gone.
Yeah. And my why is a little bit different here, but mine was a family member. So it's like, as much as growing up, man, I was in my mom's family, it's my mom and 4 brothers. So like, she's the only daughter. And growing up, I mean, you get it. You go to your grandparents' house, you really don't, you lock on them. It's your grandpa, it's your grandma, but it's not that true connection. And then all of a sudden, like, I started watching him get Parkinson's and just kind of go backwards and backwards and backwards and backwards. But the thing about it is, I was always like, why am I drinking grandpa drinks? Air quote. Why am I drinking whiskey? Why am I drinking beer? Whatever it is. And when he passed away, I started digging into it because I cleaned up actually the month before. So like the last meeting of where I had family members come just to see him, and we knew it was getting close. literally caused me to stop drinking. So like the buildup of this was like my grandma screaming down my throat, say, dude, stop drinking, stop drinking. Family members, church go, church moms, church sisters, whatever it is. Everyone's like, stop drinking, stop drinking, stop drinking. It didn't really take it till he passed away to really realize, one thing. I'm the only dad, daughter, son of the family, of like the four brothers and sisters. So like if you look at mental health and all that stuff, a lot of that dad, daughter, son has a lot to do with mental health. So I'm like sitting here going like, okay, first and foremost, I'm the only one. Secondly, I'm like, during this whole like he passed away and come February was lockdown. Grant, I came over, whatever it was, and me cleaning up and noticing the family, like I was the black sheep. So like from day one, and I'm gonna be positive how I say black sheep, not the negative way of saying it. So like from day one, I always knew I was different, and it's not different on purpose. It's just the difference of I'm not normal, like in a good way. And growing up, I built up that resistance to where I think what it was is I drank because I didn't know how to channel that differences. So like for me, I was in classes, and still to this day it bugs me a little bit, but not a lot. It's like um I have the confidence, or I have the ability and the strength in my mind to be like, okay, I am different, I appreciate it, and I'm gonna use my superpowers as a gift to go forward and all that stuff. So it's a different perspective of looking at it versus in the past. But for me, in the whole family, my grandma pointed me out one to one. She came to me straight out, and there's two situations this occurred. So like prior to my grandpa dying, we went to go pick up something at their house, whatever, and it was me and grandma. We get in the car, we take off 1 mile. She started chewing my ass out. Don't you ever turn into my brother. Don't you ever turn into my cousin, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I never heard any of this before. She's like, well, they both had their wife left them. They both had their wife cheated on them. They both crawl in the bar. I'm like, okay, 33 years of this. I'm like, I never heard of this. And she's like, don't you ever fucking turn into, and like my grandma's 5 foot tall, redhead, like fiery, but she never really cussed at us. It was more of like kind of respectful old school stuff. And she just started pointing and cussing and just like kind of got back into it. So like we went back in the car, and after we, my grandpa passed away, whatever it was, a month or two later, we're at my parents' house, and in the same situation as like I cleaned up, and there's certain members in the family are kind of trying to get me to drink again. And my grandma got in the middle of it. She's like, don't you ever touch that fucking thing again. I mean, like just directly in my face. So like I knew there was something behind that there's if people are really against you that much, there's a gift waiting behind you. And there's more than my step, or more than my grandpa. Like my cousin passed away at 39. Another family member passed away, and it was just like everyone, 2020 was rough for a lot of families. And I'm sitting there, and finally I called up my sister. I'm like, I need to break this. And she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, all these people, everyone in my family, which I love to death, they go work very hard 9 to 5. They're very professionals at it. They're doing it this way. We have high expectations, as we would joke around, say the Harmon expectation. And I'm sitting there going, I'm like, none of this is me. None of this makes me happy. I'm like, I have to be the one to put my mom on payroll. I have to break that cycle. I have to go out and do this. And I just, there's more why behind it and building up. And, there's a whole book that's getting written by myself of exactly of the, all the situations boiled down to it. But I look at it this way: as first and foremost, my why. My why is I don't want to be a stat, which means I don't want to be normal. That's not me. Secondly, as a goal, my goal is to put my mom on payroll and put my sister on payroll. Why? Because throughout the whole years, even though we butt heads, mom and daughter, mom and sister, they were very influential on certain things. So like if my mom didn't try very hard, I wouldn't be here. Like if, my sister is a breast cancer survivor, now we have a very good relationship just because of life hit us in the face and we had to go through that whole situation. So like, to me, it's first and foremost, I'm not a stat. I'm going to break that cycle. I understand I'm different, so I'm going to dare people to be different. So that's where my saying on my supplement line came from. Dare to be, sorry, that was my old saying, dare to be different. Because if people don't take that dare to be different, how are they going to know what their superpower is? Secondly, thirdly, now when you start boiling all this together, and you say, okay, I'm not a stat. I'm already know I'm different. I'm going to change my difference. You're going to fix yourself. And if it's either your mindset, cleaning up, fitness, whatever it is, for that focus turns on you. So now you're fixing yourself and you're going through the whole routine of figuring out what ball we're talking. And this is where I were talking before I started hitting record is how do we take that whole ball of wax that we just fixed in ourselves and say, okay, hey guys, people are looking saying, hey, you did an amazing job. Hey, you're influential, or hey, that's inspiring, whatever. And we convert it to teaching or educating. And first, second, like the lastly, how do we use it to change the culture? And what I look at is like, my spirit, and how big I am in church. But if you look at every chapter in the Bible, it's about changing the culture. Like a guy broke out of the cycle, obviously followed the word, whatever it was, and he changed his culture. And, whether you guys are spiritual or not, in my mind, it's like, my name is Battle, my name's Chad. It means battle and warrior, which means, okay, obviously my parents didn't know this, but obviously I've been labeled a warrior for a reason. So it's like, okay, now how do I make it's going to sound really weird and cheesy how I say this, but how do I make little battle warriors behind me to say, okay, hey, fuck this. I'm going against the culture or going against the grain, and I'm changing a whole bunch of people and turn them into leaders. So not to sound cheesy on how I say I'm going to line up little warriors, because that sounds very childish, but how do we break that? I don't say complacency. Complacency is the best word of saying it, but it's just in general of, how do we make people break free from the traditional everyday lives, the traditional 9 to 5s? And there's a word that in my mind that I cannot bring at this moment, but break free
of the mundaneness, the
yes.
program, the matrix. Yes, absolutely. And the thing is cliches or things that are cheesy, they are maybe cheesy, but they resonate, yeah. They're cheesy because people like to say them. People like to use them. My business is called A Hero's Academy. It's literally designed it's an academy to create heroes. So it's the same cheesy shit that you're talking about. And, as cheesy as it is, it's what we cling on to as culture. Why do we watch superhero movies? Why do we watch warrior movies? Why do we watch Star Wars? Because we want to be the hero. But we're so busy playing an extra in our lives and watching everyone else be heroes. A lot of the time it comes with self-worthiness issues for ourselves, not understanding the capability of being the learner, that there is a gestation period from the time you ask for something and the time that it's answered. And so we, as a culture, I believe that the idea of change, the idea of self-help or personal development is amazing. And so when we create these ideas and have these conversations with friends or with other people, it fills us up and we get this release of hormones that make us feel pumped up, empowered, and excited. And we don't do anything about it. And Tom Bilyeu calls that spiritual entertainment. And so, the desire to change has to be bigger than the comfort of being the same. And so I'm trying to understand this as well, Chad. I think that a lot of influencers today, because we are shifting culture. You're doing what you're doing, right? And maybe my message is a little different than your message. And maybe they're pretty much the same. I think that we're trying to empower people to live the one life they were given in whatever way that means. And their designed uniqueness. We're so uniquely designed. Like, everybody take a moment, stop, and look at your hand. Look at your fingerprints. There's not one like that in the whole world. Your brain can tell your hand to close and open right now. What is the work your hands are doing in this moment in life? So there's a few different ways that change people. And so I have 4 pillars of impact. And so the first pillar is impacting your mind. And that means you must learn new things. If you're only having the same thoughts day after day, how can you have different thoughts? How can you have different feelings? How can you have different beliefs? How can you have different results? You got to learn something that's different outside of your comfort zone. So I think, again, from Tom Bilyeu, he has this equation called information in equals information out. So downloading yourself with education, learning about new things, opening your mind to new belief systems. You don't have to attach them, but learn them. Learn what, maybe if you have enemies, learn what your enemies' belief systems are. The best part that, about debate is that playing both sides, educating yourself on both sides to understand, why does this person believe in this? You know, in the United States right now, it's Democrat versus Republican, left and right. It's just like, can you not empathize with the other side of why they believe what they believe? Can you not empathize with a Christian? Can you not empathize with an atheist? If you cannot empathize with it, you're not opening your mind to understanding another human being's point of view. It doesn't have to be right or wrong. It's just another person's point of view. Can you open your mind? And so that's the impact of mind. That's one key component to helping change your life and have different results, doing different things with your mind, right? The next one is the impact of emotion. There's a few different ways that you can have an emotional impact in your life. It can be an amazing emotional impact, such as you started that business that you always wanted to start and you just are killing it, right? You travel to another country and you're culture shocked, but you're just like so open and you meet so many different human beings and you're just like, wow, the world is way bigger than I could ever imagine. You can have a plant medicine experience of psilocybin, magic mushrooms, or ayahuasca, or whatever it is. And you could have a profound experience in that. You can also have a negative or perceived, I'll say perceived negative, because nothing is good or bad except thinking it so makes it so. So the perceived negative experience could be just like what you experienced, Chad, and what I experienced. A trauma that of maybe someone got raped, maybe that you lost your job and you lost your house, maybe you lost a loved one like we did, and it woke us up out of the slumber, right? It was a deep emotional impact. It could be perceived positive or negative, but there's 2 different ways that that can influence a person. The third one is the impact of repetition, and that's doing something over and over and over and over and over and over again. It's called neuroplasticity. You do something over enough, it becomes you. You become your habits. Excellence is a habit. You know, quality of life is a habit. How you do anything is how you do everything. So understanding the little aspects of your day and the routine that you do, if you can understand how to have a really good day, then you can have a really good week. And then you can have a really good month and a year and a life. There's a compound effect when you do repetition of high quality routines, thoughts, emotions, interactions with people. It adds up and it builds a beautiful life. The last impact is impact of culture, the impact of the tribe. You are the 5 people that you surround yourselves with, or ideas. We are our environment. And so all of these things, when you combine these 4 things together, you're able to shift culture and a human being. But at the end of the day, the number one superpower that I speak of is owning your reality. If you cannot own your life, if you cannot take responsibility of your thoughts and your relationships, your finances, your life's purpose, and you are asleep to it, or you're blaming others, or you're resentful and you're a victim, unfortunately, your life is not going to change until you change the way you own your life. So that's the formula. The 4 impacts of change is what I have come up with from reading numerous books, listening to numerous influencers, and defining it for myself. And that will be in the book as well. I talk a lot about those 4 pillars of impact. But yeah, man, I at the end of the day, we're doing it. And, you know, I think a lot of people, and myself included, for so many years, and I've realized this year, and this is when I wrote the book, is when I realized I'm doing this for me. The more I look inside and heal myself and realize nobody needs a hero, nobody needs a savior, nobody needs someone coming after them and saving them and shifting culture necessarily, even though that is the goal. The more I change myself every fucking day, the more I see my son changes, the more I see my fiance changes, my mom, my dad, my sisters, my friends. And then all of a sudden, the circle outside of that space, they start changing because I started changing myself. I had different conversations. I was vulnerable. I challenged people to be better, ask more out of their lives. The more I change myself, the more I see the world outside of me change as well. And that is the lenses of the mind. Perception is our reality. So, what are we perceiving in culture right now? Are we seeing that on a massive scale right now, Chad? There is trauma happening. There is an emotional impact ever since 2020 happened. And people had to sit at home realizing that they don't want to work at a 9-to-5 job. What am I doing with my life? Maybe I want to do something else. That was a good thing. Trauma happened, and it fucking happened on a global scale. And now people are looking within and consciousness is shifting. So we're going to see huge, whatever it looks like. I don't define it good or bad because in hindsight, everything is 2020, right? If we look at a painting 2 inches away from it, it looks like fragmented chaos. It looks like a mess. But if you take 10 steps back from that painting, you can see the whole picture. You can see in hindsight, what is this masterpiece being unfolded as? So we need to keep that in the forefront of our mind as the influencers of culture right now, that it is a good thing perhaps that we're going through trauma, because my trauma, and it sounds like yours as well, Chad, has been the best thing in your life to make you a better human being. And with that, people need to understand we don't need to be afraid of the dark side. The dark side of the moon is beautiful. It is still the moon. Can we see the dark sides of Chad and Jonathan and the light side? Can we recognize the dark and the light of our enemies and our victors or mentors or the people that we look at, our heroes? You know, I think it's very important, and culture right now is so judgmental on other human beings. If we take a step back and just look at ourselves and audit ourselves, we need to learn how to be our own best friend. You need to meet your own hero before you can try to point fingers at everybody else. And so I think what we're doing right now, Chad, we are shifting culture, and it starts with us.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm going to add some positivity on exactly what 2020 is, because a lot of the proactive people, and I'm going to say proactive, but like the ones that said, okay, enough, enough. We need to change our lives. We need to help everyone out, and kind of just dropped the guard and said, fuck this. We're not going to be following the path. There's going to be either this year or next year, and the timetable, let's say from now to the next 5 years, because certain businesses take a little bit of time. There's gonna be huge explosion of podcasters, of YouTubers, of influencers, coaches, online businesses, Amazon people, Shopify people. I can go down the whole list. So anything in that e-commerce market, to like the podcast market, to the YouTuber market, to just in general educators like us. And I'm not, like, I don't want to keep bringing up the term coach, because we're not a coach, we're an educator. There's going to be a big wave of people that are going to be all of a sudden coming from nothing, and here they're a big influencer.
Yeah, I think that is 100% correct. We've probably both heard the saying, you can overestimate what you can do in a year, but underestimate what you can do to 3-5 years, right? So it's only been a year, a little over a year, since our world shut down and created this unsettledness. It disrupted the mundaneness of the world. And so they woke up. Some of them went back to sleep very, very quickly. We forget what that was like for the world to shut down. But some of us stayed awake and started doing different things with our lives. So in that, that's where we need mentors. Mentors, that is the biggest thing of why I am who I am today, is because I captured four mentors that I fucking loved listening to and learning from, and I aligned with them, and they helped guide me into education of self and learning more about who I am. Journaling has been one of my biggest mentors. You know what I mean? Like it's phenomenal, the tools that are out there, but we have to use the tools. We have to do the work. And you know what happens when we do the work? It works.
Results. Yeah.
It works. The work works, man. And so, that's what I encourage people to do. Again, change sounds amazing, but a lot of the time just talking about it makes people feel good. They get these releases of different hormones, and then they don't do anything about it because it felt like they did something by talking about it. We need to change our routines. We need to take action. We are physical beings, so we need to take physical action to manifest our ultimate potential. And so, yeah, man, honestly, this is the reason why I created the NFTs, is for culture, and to, just like what you said, you're putting your mom and your sister on payroll. I want to bring everybody with me. Come with me. I promise. My goal is abundance for myself and everybody around me. I want you to learn abundance within yourself first, and then you'll start seeing it in your external reality as well. But this NFT, I started learning about these things, and I won't go into the details about NFTs, exactly what they are on the blockchain, NFT versus crypto. But there's this thing with NFTs that they are the future. And I want to create the vision for your audience, that there is this piece that I've created. I created 3 compasses. And why a compass? It's called the hero's compass. We need a tool to help us guide us to where we're going, right? And so where am I helping people be guided towards? The inner hero. That's my goal, is I want people to discover the hero within themselves, whatever that means. It can mean so many different things to other people, but there is something inside of you of greatness, the absolute best version of you. And I have tools and techniques to help guide you. And the tool that will refer to is a compass. It's going to guide you to that inner hero. And so the 3 compasses are: wake up, own your life, and manifest your ultimate potential. So there's concepts behind these images, but there's also something in NFTs that are called utility. And so by having one of these images, you actually have a bunch of utility. And one of the utilities is people will earn money, real life money, from my book sales, from my audiobook sales. As long as they hold that NFT, they will always get money from my book sales, whether it's physical, ebook, or audio. My online courses that I'll be continuously releasing, they're going to get 5% off of all of that. So you're actually getting money from these things. I will be doing raffles all the time for you to come to our nature retreats. And we're going to do Uncovering the Inner Hero retreat this next spring. And I haven't decided where, if it's going to be somewhere in Mexico, South America, Hawaii, but it's going to be in nature, and it's going to be for 3 days with other influencers to help you tap into your inner hero and change the fucking direction of your life. My purpose is to help you bridge the gap from being a dreamer to the actualizer of those dreams. And so, there's so many other utilities that come along with this. But let's say that you win that retreat and you don't want to be part of the retreat. That's okay too. You can sell that and you can actually make money off this retreat, which is going to be close to $2,000 for 3 days. So you can make money off of this. And so this is a really cool tool to empower your community, help your community make money, and also help shift culture, because when I'm abundant, you're abundant. And when you're abundant, I'm abundant. And that's the type of mentality I think as human beings we need to shift into, is that it's not about taking from others, but what can I give to others? And in that, you automatically receive. And so the concept between the 3 compasses, the first one is called wake up. And it's about waking up from the matrix. It's the moments of aha in your life that you approach this moment as one state of being, as one version of yourself. And as soon as this moment happened, there was a ripple effect afterwards where you started changing the way that you lived your life. We all have these moments of aha, these moments of awakening. And I've had multiple of them. I talked a little bit about it today, and I have more of those, and you'll read about it in the book when you get it. But that's the first step for anyone. One of my favorite quotes right now is by Confucius. We each live two lives. The second one starts when we realize we only have one. That's that moment of awakening. I was asleep for 25 years of my life. What the fuck was I doing that whole time? And then I woke up, and all of a sudden it's time to work. It's time to go. It's time to be, not just do shit, but I want to be Jonathon Dugan. Who the fuck is Jonathon Dugan? What does he want? Why is he created? Why is he here? You have to ask these questions of yourself, because I guarantee there's a specific reason why you're here. And the cool thing about it, and the book Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, if you've never read that, that's an amazing one, a Holocaust survivor. But he said that you can take everything away from a man except his meaning of life. And so you defined your meaning. There isn't one design for you. You choose your meaning and you go after it. And whatever lights you on fire, I'll tell you, that is a breadcrumb telling you whether or not that is the meaning of your life, but only you can decide that. The second compass is own your life, own your nature, own your thoughts, own your being, own you, every aspect of your life. When you wake up, you have to understand that it's no one else's fault why you are the way that you are, or how much money you make, or the relationships that you've failed in or that have failed. You got to own it. It's your life. If you ain't going to change it, no one else is. No one actually, the unfortunate truth is nobody actually cares. They're always consumed with themselves. You have to love yourself and care about yourself enough to own your life. Because when you're able to love yourself in that way, that type of, I'll say selfish, but when you fill your cup, guess what? You're able to fill other people's cups in such loving, beautiful, abundant ways. But you have to love yourself enough to own your life and fill your cup up first. And the third compass is manifest your ultimate potential. And that's the goal of this all. This is what it is. This is the funness of life, right? I create a vision in my mind. I create a dream. And then all of a sudden, all this stuff inside my mind, I'm able to take it out of my mind, and I'm able to see it with my eyes. I'm able to smell it, taste it, touch it with all my senses. That's a fucking superpower. And we all have it.
Yes.
So how are you bridging the gap from the dreamer to the actualizer of those dreams? And so in that, these compasses are dope. The utility is amazing. The community is a beautiful, authentic community that I want everyone in the community to manifest their potential. And so that's the NFTs in a gist. And this is just the beginning of NFTs, because there's a whole world of virtual reality, augmented reality, and NFTs of utility, because society hasn't tapped into it yet, because there's not regulations. The sooner you get in, the better that you will be.
Exactly. So where can everyone find exactly where they need to go for all the NFT stuff? Or first, lastly, guys, just where can all my listeners come to look at everything you have?
Yeah. The best way to go right now is go to my website. It's aheroesacademy.com, aheroesacademy.com. And there you can join the Discord, which the Discord will have all the information about the NFTs. Also there, you can pre-order my book, Uncovering the Inner Hero, Wake Up, Own Your Life, and Manifest Your Ultimate Potential. I highly recommend pre-ordering it before December 2nd, because you have a chance to win one of these NFTs. And, these NFTs, they're a good investment. We'll say that. 3 separate drops. And the cheapest one that I'm doing, which will be December 8th, is going to be 0.33 ETH. And so if we translated that into USD today, that'd be close to about $1,200. and it's only going to go up from there. So there's only going to be 99 available at that moment. The sooner you get in, you're going to be rewarded for it, for jumping in early. The next week, I'm going to sell the same 99, but it's going to almost more than double, 0.77 Ethereum. And then the last drop will be a week after that, and it'll be 1.55 Ethereum. So the point is, the sooner you get in, the more the reward you will gain by being in this community. And, you know, even if there's flippers out there, I honestly say hold on to it, because the community is going to be amazing. We're going to do retreats and workshops just with Compass holders. And so the relationships that you're going to be able to build with people around the world will be phenomenal. And so, you know, in that, you'll find everything in Discord. Get the book, because you have a chance to not only change your life with the book, with the tools and concepts I'll be introducing you to, but you'll also have a chance to win the YouTuber kit, the Ethereum from the drops, and then also the NFT itself. So if not, recommend the book to someone else. If you think that someone else needs this type of information, tell a friend. Because, you know, for myself, I know that I had the opportunity to talk to my friend before he passed away, the week before he did. And I saw him. We used to work together as well. I didn't just know him since I was 7 years old, but we worked together every day at Gordon Ramsay's Steak in Las Vegas. And I saw him in the hallway, and I was looking at him, and my intuition said, "Hey, Jonathan, go talk to your friend over there. There's something going on with him. There's something going on with your friend. Ask him how he's doing." And the fear that I had of just having that conversation with my friend, thinking that one day I'll have the conversation with him, I said, I'll talk to him next week. I'll talk to him next week. I'll talk to him later. And I never got that chance. So I know information influencing the mind can have a powerful result in a person's life when they need it and they're open to it. So if you know anyone that is looking for changes in their life and they're seeking, the tools and concepts in this book are phenomenal and life-changing. And I'm not just being biased because it's mine. I'm telling you, whatever wrote this book that came through me is my inner hero. And I think my inner hero, I know my inner hero has a message for other people's inner heroes. So, you know, if you're able to pick this book up, give it to a friend, it's near Christmas time. It's a great gift to give. Take advantage of that. And please write a review. Tell me about it. Reach out to me. Ask me fucking questions. I am an open book. I love talking with everybody around me and connecting, because connection is one of my true values. So, and again, Chad, thank you so much for having me back on here, man. I really appreciate it and can't wait to talk again.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sitting here and we're gonna end this here, guys. But he pretty much gave me a day, I don't say day off, but a night off. That's probably all we could joke around on it. But we're on the same wavelength, guys. So we both can flip flop and take lead and go from there. So appreciate everything you've done, man. And we're gonna end this recording here. But yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's always a invite for you, man.
Thanks again, man. Appreciate you.
No problem. You have a great night.
You too.